Jackie Speier. Congresswoman, it's always a pleasure to speak with you, particularly on this issue. You are a survivor of gun violence. What's your reaction to the proposal unveiled today regarding expanded background checks?
I am very heartened by the proposal that was presented today. It goes a long way to closing the loopholes that exist in the universal background check law today, and I think if we can keep it intact, that we will have a very strong bill. Now, the question is the number of amendments that are going to be taken up on the Senate based on what the House is going to do with that proposal. That's what we've got to prevent from happening, that it gets watered down so that it is just a ghost of what it should be in terms of providing Americans across the country who believe, 91% of them, that universal background checks is just common sense.
You'll have people who will wonder how much more could this be watered down, in the sense that the compromise, for example, the government will not keep records on gun purchases. As far as person-to-person gun purchases, those happen without a background check. We're looking at these gun show loopholes, for example, and online internet sales of guns. What else could be put in it, or taken out of it, I should say?
Well, my understanding of the proposal is that gun shows and online purchases will be subject to the universal background check.
Right.
The one area that will not will be this person-to-person sale and purchase. Now, that concerns me greatly. Everyone should be subject to a universal background check. That's the way we have it in California, and it has not been burdensome on the purchaser nor the seller. In fact, there were 600,000 guns that were purchased last year in California. So I would have gone the full mile on this. We're negotiating here. It's a compromise. If we can keep this particular package together, it would be a huge step forward. And we can thank the Newtown parents and the president and the vice president for keeping us focused on what's really important here.
Well, you mentioned the Newtown parents. There are others right now who are conducting what they refer to as a filibuster event. Many of these folks are associated with the mayors who've been fighting for legislation, and they are right now, Congresswoman, reading the 3,300 names of people who died since Sandy Hook, to bring home, to your point, the names and the faces of people who have died as a result of gun violence. And this brings me, though, to the NRA's reaction to this proposal. In their statement, or in its statement, the NRA says that this legislation that's being proposed would not have prevented what happened in Newtown. It would not have prevented what happened in Aurora. So their stance is this means nothing. This is essentially an infringement on someone's Second Amendment rights. What is your reaction to the fact that what we're looking at would not have prevented those two massacres?
Well, first of all, they're not supporting an assault weapon ban either. And if you had an assault weapon ban, you wouldn't have had Adam Lanza with those AR-15s. You wouldn't have had the shooter Holmes in Aurora with the assault weapons. I would say to the NRA, you know, the gig is up. They have had a lock on Congress now for over 2 decades. In 1999, it was Wayne LaPierre who, after Columbine, said we should have universal background checks. That's what he said. And now he has flipped. Now, I don't think the NRA has a lot of credibility right now, because even their members support a universal background check. And I would say further, there are 32 Americans who are mowed down every day in this country. And a universal background check would stem the number of deaths that take place due to gun violence.
Do you believe that we will see a significant number of Republicans in the House who support this? I mean, where is your confidence level on this as it relates to your Republican colleagues in the House?
I think my Republican colleagues in the House are going to have to look at some polls, because the American people are really clear about this. And once they see the Senate take action, I think they're going to be hard-pressed not to do the right thing. Common sense proposal here, universal background check. Everyone wants to make sure that felons don't get guns, that persons that are convicted of misdemeanor domestic violence don't get guns, and that persons that are a threat to themselves or others shouldn't have access to guns. I mean, we have got to get sensible about gun violence prevention in this country.
Congresswoman Jackie Speier, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it. And joining me now, Anita